if you don't believe in yourself, no one will.
Yeah.
But when you're getting your dad who doesn't believe in you, that's rough.
Well, welcome. Episode 22, Brothers of Purpose. Today, we got Gaz. Great to have you on, mate.
That's good.
How you doing?
Yeah, man.
Good to meet you, brother.
All good.
Good to have you on, bro. Now, obviously, I'm getting to know more and more about you, but just for our listeners, tell them a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm an online coach.
Mm-hmm.
Been doing it full-time for 2 years, but part-time for about 12. So been doing it a while. Bodybuilder for 12 years. Love the whole game, man.
Yeah.
Every aspect of it. The training,
Awesome.
nutrition, supplements, pharmacology, everything. But my goal is just a longevity thing, as you're aware, like biohacking and making sure we are not just healthy from the outside, but also internally as well. Because a lot of people, just want to look good from the outside, but it could look amazing, but look crap inside. Blood work could be horrific. So I'm big on my blood work.
Yeah, I like that. That's the type of stuff that definitely attracted me to you initially. Was not just let's make you look good. It was let's give this longevity. Let's do it right. But also for me, it was to understand the science behind it. Yeah. Because once I understood effectively the processes behind them, it makes a lot more sense in my head and it makes me apply it better. Yeah. So I fully understood that.
Yeah. It's so easy to do things in a suboptimal way when you start delving.
Most people do.
Yeah. I had a client sign up the other day and never had his blood work done. Completely natural, but about 38, 37 years old. Quite overweight. Got his blood work done. His testosterone was 4.7. He was wondering why he hadn't made progress with his previous coaches. And I says, probably wasn't your coach's issue. It was just they didn't get you to do blood work. Because now, if you get it to like 25, 30 nanomolars per litre of blood, you're going to fly. Yeah. I always say if your testosterone's low, your progress will be slow. Testosterone's high, your progress will fly. Yeah. It's so true. It sounds a bit cringy, but it's so true. I've seen it so many times.
It is.
Anthony Joshua and all these guys, they all have the elite doctors to keep their levels just at the upper ceiling of natural. Yeah. And look at them. So look like some of them. And they perform amazing. The mental health's always clear. Well, Tyson Fury. But his testosterone might be low.
Probably is. He's probably natural. He's just a machine, isn't he? Actually is. Yeah. No, I agree with that because what was it? It's probably 6 months I was training with you and I was cutting fat, but not quickly. And I wasn't necessarily seeing progress and then finally got my bloods done. And mine was 2.3 or something, 2.9?
Yeah, it was horrific.
How did you feel mentally?
At that point, it had been like this for a long, long time. I felt, this is when I felt depressed. And I felt,
really? So 2.3, you were mentally down.
Yeah. Well, no, but that was over the years. I'd suffered because through my addiction and everything, that was when I would always say, no, I've got depression. But since I changed around my nutrition and then going on tests, I was only thinking about this the other day. I haven't felt depressed since.
What dose of test did you start on when you were at 2.3?
It was low. It was, what would it have been? I think it was 0.5 ml a week. So...
How many milligrams per mil?
300.
That's 150.
Yeah. So that's what I started on. Did that for 6 months. Then I jumped up pretty high. I think I was doing around 2 ml every 7 days across 3 jabs. So I went pretty high for a bit and then dropped right back down. And then now we're doing, about 0.8 a week.
And when you went high, did you feel even better or did you just...
I felt better for... the most of it, but then when some stuff happened in my personal life, I noticed my reactions were not great to it. Not great at all.
Much alpha in you.
100%.
Testosterone is.
And that's exactly what it was. Part of me enjoyed it. Part of me knew this isn't sustainable, so drop back down. Because you had to have a conversation with me, didn't you?
Yeah, I was like, take that bass out your voice, lad.
Pull the mic up at 2 a.m. Yeah, we got to go somewhere, buddies. Like, no, we don't.
It messes my sleep when I take mine extra high. I went to a grandma test once and never again because could not sleep.
Really?
No, I just couldn't. I don't know why it was, but then when I reduced it down to 250, sleep went amazing.
Yeah. Oh, I relate to that. My sleep's always been pretty good. I'm fortunate with that.
Sleep's a huge one. Like
you struggle sometimes, don't you? Well, you got little Isaac as well.
Well, I've got the little one now, but 8 hours of deep sleep is the biggest biohack there is.
Oh, it's the biggest strength hack. It's the biggest cognitive function hack.
Yeah.
It's the biggest everything.
It's the first thing to optimize.
Well, what is it you always say to me? You say sleep, stress, nutrition, and exercise. Those are the 4 things.
Hydration as well.
Yeah.
Hydration's a big one.
Well, you got me on what, 5 liters a day? Yeah.
But a lot of people just think hydration's water, but hydration's 3 minerals: potassium, sodium, and magnesium.
And the electrolytes.
Well, those are main electrolytes to keep your muscles functioning and your brain function as well. I've got my sister taking hydration. She can't live without it.
Yeah.
Because she says, I just feel amazing. My skin's better.
Yeah.
Because if you just drink loads of water, you're just going to flush everything out.
Yep.
And if your diet's already low in like good nutrient-dense minerals, then it's not good for you. So hydration supplement, when you fast and people are not taking the hydration supplements, it blows my mind. So when people are fasting from food, not getting any minerals in your body at all. It's not a natural thing.
I was speaking to someone about that literally the other day, and because I think it's so easy to do something like fasting wrong, fasting and under eating. So my sister. So since I've sort of gone on my journey of trying to improve myself, some of my sister and her husband are doing the same, but she's been massively under eating. So she was losing weight for a period of time, and now it's plateaued. And I mean, I don't necessarily know the science behind it, but that's what intrigued me when I started working with you. Was all of the amount of food I'm eating is going up, particularly the carbs.
Food, because of the thermogenic effect of food. So when your food's so when we eat a big meal, it's a thermogenic effect from, especially protein. If you eat high protein, especially
counts for like something like 15% of your output, doesn't it?
Yeah, something close to that. But do you know the saying meat sweats? Because when you eat protein, it elevates your metabolism.
Okay,
it does.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So. Not that eating every 2 hours, 3 hours, that's great because you're just feeding the body with good nutrients every 2 or 3 hours. But if you eat 40, 50 grams of protein, you're going to boost your metabolism naturally. Whereas if you just fast completely, there's something called metabolic adaptation. And it's the point where you get no thermogenic effect from the food, therefore your metabolism is just nil on this side. And then your output becomes less because you've got no energy and you've got no energy at all, or fuel. So that comes down as well. So you're not moving enough because you haven't got energy. So you need to push these up. That'll push your metabolism up with the food. And then push your energy up. And then it's just, that's why I say start off with the highest amount of food in the diet phase with the smallest amount of body fat drop. So if you're on 4,000, excellent. But if you put someone on 2,000, where they're going to be in 12 weeks? 1,000 calories. They're going to be.
So the more food you eat whilst you're cutting, the better.
Yeah, because you're going to increase your performance, which is therefore going to push your calorie out expenditure more. So it just makes sense in every avenue. But obviously keep it clean. You can't eat Krispy Kreme and expect to perform well.
This is a thing, like attention to detail when it comes to like the quality of the food.
Yeah, that's it. Because if it fits your macros, it's like, it works, but you would look better if you ate natural sources.
Well, this is the first time that I've eaten 100% clean. And I've already seen the benefits. It's been, I think 15 days? And I feel better in every aspect. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had a few moments where I'm like, fuck, I'd love to just go and, eat whatever. Like I've had a pizza pop in my head, but I know that doesn't align with the goal. So I'm dialed into it. But it's been such a simple change. Because when I first was chatting to you, I was saying, I'm eating the stuff, the right stuff, 80% of the time, 20% of the time, it's all this. You're like, right, well, that's all getting cut out. But that's what I needed to do to get to where I want to get to. So it's these little tweaks, and that's why I think it's worked so well. But you said you've been doing this for roughly 2 years, training for 10 plus years?
Yeah.
So what shifted over the last few years to go into this? What was the...
Full time. So basically, when I started out, I was very thin. Super thin ectomorph, Like I took my second, third, fourth cycle and I was still 169 pound, bear in mind. I'm not even barely taking anything. I'm 220 now.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference. I put a lot of mass on over the years just through consistency and being relentless. And so I hired the best coach in the UK at the time, 2014, Jordan Peters, also known as trained by JP. And because he was huge, he just knew how to put mass on people. And I was like, right, I need this guy. I don't care what his price is. I need to get big. I wanted to get big. Do you know when you got like bullied at school or something and it's always that insecurity?
Is that the supplements?
Yeah, trained by JP. That was my first ever coach, man.
So the guy who owns it.
Jordan Peters, the big lad. It's big.
Those are some of the best supplements.
Like
yeah.
I didn't know that.
So he started off, he was just an online coach, and now he's where he is.
Brilliant.
But he's a bit of my inspiration as well now. It's crazy. But so I hired him, mate. I went from I mean, I was doing things in stone back then. So I was like 12 and a half stone maybe. And I went to about 15 and a half, but I still had abs.
Yeah.
That's where I got the Rice Krispies thing from, and the yogurt meal. Yeah. So that's been going around for 12 years for me.
Brilliant. They are my two favorite meals, honestly.
So, you know, when you were saying about eating clean, Rice Krispies aren't clean, but it keeps you just like, it was nice, or looking forward to it after your leg session.
100%.
Yeah. And it's like, I'll get me Rice Krispies after actually, not bad.
Yeah. But it's just, but it's all those little things, because you're right with what you're saying though. Previously I would have thought, well, I can't have them, because they're not clean.
Yeah.
But they serve a purpose.
Yeah, because it really gets to us when people say, I'm eating clean and I'm not losing weight. But how much of clean food are you eating? If I put you on one Krispy Kreme a day, but you ate nothing else, you would lose fat. But if you eat 400 grams of salmon, like 400 grams of beef, like loads of potatoes, and goes to 5,000 calories and you're burning 2, of course you're going to get fat.
Yeah.
Even though it's healthy, it's like loads of people say that. I'm like, how do people not know about calorie deficit? Like, energy balance? But I guess people have their own avenues of interests.
I think it's, Whereas
mine
agree.
is purely this. Like, I live for nothing else.
No, but it works.
I think energy balance is one of the key things for people to learn, though.
Yeah.
And I find it surprising that it's not the first thing that a lot of PTs mention to their clients, because...
Energy balance, what do you mean?
Energy balance.
Calories in, calories out.
Oh, right, cool.
Essentially, isn't it?
Yeah, calories in, calories out. But obviously, it's a bit deceiving, isn't it? Because when you say calories in versus calories out, we don't really talk about the thermogenic effect of food or non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So all of that kind of gets pushed to one side. We'll just say, right, calories in, calories out, which then gets misconstrued for something else later down the line. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate. I got a good story. Actually, the second time I ever prepped, I was on an hour of cardio every day. So cardio in the morning, cardio in the evening. And I was just dropping weight like £1 a week or £2 a week. I was in a good zone. Then I went to this, what was it called? The Body Fit Expo thing back in the day. And the Hodge twins and that were big.
What was it called?
You all know
was it Birmingham and NEC? It's changed its name now. It's like the Arnold's now, but...
Yeah, it was a huge expo.
It was a massive expo, right? NEC's huge.
Yeah.
So I was away for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I didn't do cardio because the hotel didn't have a cardio machine. I stayed in a hotel back in those days. But you walk loads. I came back after 3 days and dropped £6 and stuck to my meal. So then it clicked. I was like, I don't need to do cardio. I just need to move more. So I would do cardio and then just be sitting all day. Just be like, cardio's in another hour. But then I just thought, if you do loads of housework and all that, and get your shopping in and do that, pop miles away from Morrison's and get your shopping in and take your time, walk down every aisle. That's more exciting than just being on a monotonous treadmill.
It's true.
So I don't do any cardio. I do it for health benefits. Like I might jump on the Stairmaster just for like a taste of my, because I don't like the Stairmaster. I like that. I think I was saying to you got to get uncomfortable sometimes.
Yep. Oh, you got to. As soon as you're comfortable, you're not growing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Discomfort. So we spoke a bit last night about sort of some of the stuff that drives you. And there was a couple big parallels between me and my journey, which I loved. And I still think it's crazy how these people like yourself do come into my life, especially now I've made these shifts. Particularly the biggest one being my sobriety and how that's changed everything for me. It will probably always be the single most important thing I ever did in my life because it opened up everything to me. Because I think sobriety, in my capacity at least, is a superpower because it opens up everything. But I didn't know that you've had your own journey with that as well. Yeah.
2019.
That's what
December 13th.
Yeah. Go on.
Friday the 13th, December 2019. Yeah, man. That was the end. And then I never drank again. But apart from my niece's 18th.
Yeah.
So I'm 5 years completely sober. Going back to those days when I think, this is the type of person I was back then.
Yeah.
I just lived for the weekend.
Yep.
Didn't like my job through the week. So you just make up for that lack of dopamine on the weekend by taking recreational drugs and all that. And everyone, like not everyone knows, but my family knew I had to open up to them eventually about it.
Yeah.
In 2019. And I remember there was one Boxing Day, right? Because I've lived alone for 10 years.
Yeah.
There was one Boxing Day when no one was going out for a night out. And I nearly started crying.
Yeah.
Because I had to stop it.
Yeah.
When I thought about that the other day, I was like,
crazy. Isn't it?
what is wrong with you guys? You got upset because you were on, you couldn't go out.
Yeah.
Now I'm just like, relentless. Like nothing. I don't even go out.
No.
People say FOMO, and is it JOMO, joy of missing out?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah.
when I see people in these bars like drunk and like dancing, I'm like, oh my god, it's a school disco, man.
It's
like,
crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
You look at it now, but you look back to, I used to thrive with that. I used to spend time with, even if it was someone I didn't really like, if the people I got on with weren't going out, I'd go out with them.
100%.
I'd go out and spend the night with a guy that probably irritated me.
Yeah.
But it meant I could get fucked up for the night.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? It's
on
mental.
that Boxing Day, I was meshing everybody, people I hadn't seen in about 5 years.
Yeah, hello mate, fancy a pint? Yeah, let's get a packet in.
I was just like, fuck. So I nearly ended up crying that night.
So was that the day you were like, I'm done?
So I think it was the year after. So
Okay.
I was like Boxing Day. Then the year after, I went really heavy. I was in Ibiza twice, recreational drugs, drank. But it was like binge though. I never drink. I always kept my training Monday to Friday, meals. So I kept in good shape. But my God, I never made any progress.
Yeah.
Because you can't when you're torturing your body on a weekend.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just got to a point. So it was all year, and then September, October, and it was like, do you know when you get that seasonal depression? Is that what it's called? Getting a bit of that whilst being on recreational drugs and a lot of alcohol binging.
It's not a good mix. Yeah.
And then I just needed help.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. Winters, I relate to that. Winters were tough. You know, dark mornings, dark nights. For me, at least, I isolated myself a lot towards the end of my addiction.
Yeah.
It was, I was dry sniffing, so I wasn't even drinking much. I would literally just be most nights sitting in and just sniffing. Yeah. From
not bad, but that's.
I was, yeah.
Yeah, I've known a few lads like that.
Yeah. That's the point it got to, and it wasn't even about the social aspect.
Yeah.
It was, I didn't even want to do it. Just couldn't stop myself. And then it got to the point that I messaged you, didn't I? I was like, right, I'm doing it. I'm putting myself in rehab and changed everything.
Because you got to accept the fact you're not in a good place, and a lot of people don't continue that forever. Never get anywhere, look at you now. Like,
it's crazy.
Making moves, and that's the greatest thing you can do in life.
Yeah, 100%, mate.
It's all on you, and it's just the best feeling.
No, it is. It is, and that's why, that process, I know it's defined me, or hasn't defined me, but that will always be the foundation that I built on.
Yeah.
Is it the same for yourself? Was that sort of like, right?
Oh.
Can I ask you something? I bet, did you always know your potential and your ability? Because I have always known that, and that's what scared the shit out of me, was if I don't change this, in 20, 30 years' time, I'm going to look back knowing I didn't achieve what I know I could, and it's because of this shit.
Yeah.
Do you relate to that? Yeah.
Because I always said I don't want to sound big-headed or egotistical when I say this. I felt like I was a sleeping giant with my knowledge. I was like, guys, no one's really in your shape or maintains your shape or has your physique. It's a good physique. Your knowledge is incredible. So some people have mint physique, but their knowledge-wise, it's just they know nutrition.
Yeah.
They don't know pharmacology and blood work. And I was like, guys, you're like, you could be like a huge, like, helpful asset to the world.
Yeah.
But then that's just being real.
100%.
And then frustrating us and all. Maybe that was why I was going to recreational drugs and just destroying myself.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, whoa, I am helping people. Like when people says, you saved me life, it's like, that's the biggest high.
Yeah.
Then a flipping drug can give you.
100%.
Like when someone drops
100%,
£100 and they felt like they're going to have a heart attack and they've got 2 kids who are 10-year-old. And then, guys, you've saved me life. I move about with my kids and stuff. My health's good. My brain's good. I'm like, my business is flying. Oh, man, the amount of times I hear that.
Yeah.
When you get someone in shape and disciplined outside of work, they take it inside work and the work becomes better.
Take it into every aspect of life.
Mate. And a lot of people look at it like weird. And I'm like, it's not weird. It's true. Because it's not normal to normal society.
It's crazy that it's not normal, but because I've had that. I mean, I've had...
It's high performance, isn't it? Like high performance is...
But that's why the successful people are not successful. Because the people who do not understand it and will always be unsuccessful. The ones who hate, the ones who troll, the ones who... Like when I get trolled on Instagram, I love it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, you're a loser.
100%. That's the only reason people will do that shit, you know?
Completely a loser, mate.
Yeah.
Because you've got... Like Mike Thurston's not going to write a comment on my post.
Nah.
You know what I mean? Saying you don't know what you're talking about. You ain't got time for that.
I always think, right, it's... Because we spoke about this as well. It's not... The things you need to do to succeed, if you break them down, they're not that difficult. The difficult thing is the consistency and discipline. That's what I always say. It's doing things when you don't want to do them, and it's consistently doing them over a long period of time. Because that's what that's honestly the one thing that I was not in denial about, but I was always like, yeah, I can change all this really quickly. I didn't know how bad of shape I was in, but also I just thought, few months. Yeah. I remember honestly saying to someone, yeah, I'll probably have abs in like 2-3 months. No idea, like the work that went into it. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why people don't sustain it, is because it's not a quick fix. It takes
you've got to change your identity. You got to change your identity.
Yeah.
You have to change your identity fundamentally, because if you don't, nothing actually happens long term.
Yeah, I'm a big believer of that, because anything that's like worth achieving, like a good physique or a big business, it's a lot of hard work. And when you get to points, people, I remember seeing this graph where it was like there was a line going up and it was success at the top, and it was like give up.
Yeah.
You were like nearly there, and you just give up because you just got rejected. Like, oh. So I had this right. This is how crazy I was when I started my coaching. So I started my online coaching, quit my job. I was making £800 a month on my online coach. So it was a big jump. So I had a mortgage to pay, a car to pay for. And I'm like, all right, well, never stop working then. So I literally wrote down a notepad, put it next to my computer. I said, no sign-ups, keep working. No likes, keep working. No shares, keep working. No comments, keep working. Keep working. Everything negative, like whatever negativities there, just keep working, guys. It doesn't matter.
Keep going.
Rejections, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I kept on going. And I know a lot of people probably say, I was probably a bit lucky, mate. I've grafted.
100%.
You ask my sister or my mum or my dad. My dad, who's one of the hardest working people I've probably known, turned around to us the other month and he says, I've never known anyone in my life to work as hard as you.
Yeah.
You get up, you work. You just work all day till you fall asleep, and then you get up. And I was like, well, I've got to, because I've got a goal and a vision. And I don't want to let myself down. When I said to you last night, the biggest thing that hit me like a truck was when Denzel Washington had said, my biggest fear when I was coming up and I was getting rejected because of my skin color that I was getting rejected for, my biggest thing was I just kept on going, rejection. I didn't want to be on my deathbed and be surrounded by the ghosts I could have been. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
So when you're thinking about a sleeping giant and you're like, I know my potential. So Denzel knew his potential. I mean, look, now he's probably one of the best.
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
But
what would you say to people who don't know their potential?
Good question. What would I say to someone who...
Do you think a lot of people don't know their potential? Or do you think they're not honest
with absolutely,
themselves?
Because when you are feeling shit and you feel sad and you feel depressed, what tends to happen is it's an illusion of the mind. So you experience psychosis, you have very persuasive demons, and basically your mind is telling you that you are not who you say you are. So you don't believe in your potential. You don't believe that you can do and achieve the things that
I get that.
You at some point thought you were capable of. So there's a lot of people out there who don't believe in their own potential, but it's a question of what would you say to them?
Oh, a question of what I would say to them. Everyone can do something. Everyone, as long as you've got a passion, you can be successful. It's simple as that. Even if it's playing video games, because we're saying on YouTube now. If you become unreal at COD, you're getting views. You're getting paid off YouTube.
Yep.
But it's courage. You know, like a lot of people feared doing like talking on camera. I would be like, nah, I'm not going on. I'm trying to tell. Oh my God, grow up. What's going to happen? You're not going to die from talking on camera. And a lot of people fear that. So when I speak to people, I'm like, why don't you do like, you know your stuff, do like videos and just help people online. And they're like, I just feel daft when I press record and I'm talking. I'm like, well, just imagine if it's your mom. But then they can't. So I was always told, just imagine you speaking to my brother. And then I did a few takes and I was swearing and stuff. So I was like, right, I'm going to have to read it. But they do say like that when you start off, just as if it's talking to your mate.
It's true though.
Just be yourself. Because people buy into your authenticity rather than...
That's the key.
Hi guys, what we're going to do today. It's like, oh my God. Swipe.
But that's it, isn't it? It's being authentic. Because I remember when we first said we're going to do a podcast, the night before, I remember messaging you like, oh, you know, we're still doing it tomorrow. Maybe we postpone it, right? Just because it was so far out of my comfort zone to go behind camera.
Yeah.
And you just called me like, bro, what's up? Like, and we talked through it. And because I was nervous I was more nervous because I was a people pleaser at this point. I was nervous of what people are going to say.
I
What
think
are
it
the
was your
comments gonna be?
authenticity that allowed you to do it because you had wrote down, or at least you had started to grasp what you found important at the time.
Yeah.
And I think doing the podcast was something that felt important.
It did. It did. It felt getting the message out of at least what I'd been through. And do you know what also it did? It gave me accountability. For me, by documenting my early stage of sobriety, by documenting what I'd been through, I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
I couldn't look at that dickhead. He was, you know, he was 6 months ago, he was posting about sobriety and what's working for him. Now look at him, he's back on the gear. Like I couldn't be that guy.
Yeah.
So that's what it did for me. It was I remember when I stepped foot in rehab, the nurse said to me, look, don't worry. You only got to change one thing. I was like, all right, well, that's good. Everything. I was like, fucking brilliant. Right. But that was it. That person had to die and there were for this new person to come through. So when we started, it was nervous. But to be honest, what I've also realized is when you're striving for something, one, you're going to feel discomfort on a very regular basis. And you're going to outgrow people a lot quicker than the average person. Because the people you surround yourself with, some of them will be mainstays. Some of them, they might only be there for a few months. And that was one of the most difficult things for me to work out. Because I get to a moment where everything's going well, but I feel loads of discomfort. Yeah. And I couldn't work out why. Is it this environment? Is it this? Is it this situation? Whereas now I know that relationships, they can evolve pretty quickly. And it's about working out what your trajectory is and what the people's around you are. And it can change.
Yeah.
100%.
You know? But it's been a process. You know, we've done loads in the last 12 months.
We'll have.
Yeah.
I think as well, like criticism is like the barrier to entry for anything that you're going to achieve. Like if you're afraid of receiving criticism,
If you're searching
might
to be
as well.
liked, you'll feel.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That's
100%.
very true. I agree with that. I think talking about doing all this stuff, I don't think people know how busy you are and what you're doing. Because when you say you're non-stop, you're the only person I know that when I text at 4:30, 5 in the morning when I go text my weight or text some pictures over to you, you're responding. Yeah. And I love that. But you've got a lot of cool stuff going on. So do you want to talk a bit about that? Because I'm really excited by it.
Yeah, so I've got my own unit opening up.
Yeah.
With the formula unit. I had a vision when I quit my job. I was like, I came up with a name as well. So I'll start with a name. I'm massive into pharmacology, chemistry, all that, like medicines. And I was like, methods, like formulas, you know, it's all about formula. Everything is.
Yep.
And I was like, right, so formula's a good name. Like, and then you could branch it off to like the shred formula or the fat loss formula or the hydration formula as a supplement. And I was like, oh, this is something. So I just went formula and then formula coaching. So that's my first like branch off was formula coaching.
Yeah.
Okay. And then obviously I've just worked tirelessly for the last 18, 19 months. And I thought, right, next step is I want my own unit. Just so I can create content and valuable like content for people to view on a daily basis. Rather than hiring a videographer to a loud gym where it's really busy. I can't concentrate and I really want to put my all in this video. And I just found it so distracting. So I was just like, right, no music. I'll have my own stuff there. And then I can post every day and help. Like, the goal is help people for this unit. So we've got the content room, podcast room. We've got the gym room, which will be exclusive to the clients who are members there. Well, we've got the IV room, like IV clinic. We're going to have a deep tissue therapist, physiotherapist. So I want it to be the place where it's a one-stop shop for being in shape, being healthy, because blood work, all of that. Supplements. So hopefully within a year, my next goal is releasing my own supplement brand and then just covering everything. Which
How big is the community right now? Like how many clients are you currently working with? Or
70.
Got you.
Clients, yeah. That's like my cap. It's like
there's only
goes between 65 and 70, and it's just I can't provide the service I can if I go to like 100, because you'll hear coaches.
Are you looking at building out a team as well, or?
Absolutely, yeah. My first thing is to either get an apprentice or a qualified coach to be my understudy. and then learn what I've learned.
How do you envision that process? Because for me, that's really important who you bring in then.
Yeah.
Because you need someone who they're not going to be at the level you're at.
It'll be the toughest thing I'll do.
Yeah.
Because of my passion for the brand.
100%.
Yeah.
And they won't wake up and think, oh, Formula, what we're doing for 4
Yeah. But you need someone who you can replicate yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
Someone who's got that hunger. I mean, suppose in a way you want someone who might not be there in 5 years' time because they might then go off and do their own thing, but you want someone you can build up to that level.
Yeah.
It's a difficult process, that. Bringing people in. Because the right people, the wrong people can become cancerous.
Oh, yeah, exactly. It's going to take years to find the right person. Mm-hmm. Years and years. People will come and go and it's just like, when will that lad come? And it's like, doosh. He just gets it.
Yeah.
You don't see it often, though. When a businessman, you don't see that, like 5 years down the line, this is my business partner now.
Yeah.
From an understudy to
it's
you, because they don't have the same enthusiasm.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, I've made some dreadful choices of business partners in the past. Really bad. Yeah.
I've literally 2 years ago just went separate ways with mine for the year because they didn't have the same passion.
Yeah. But mate, that's so smart that you've done that at this point. It's so easy to go, oh, we're pretty far gone now. Let's just look, we'll make this work. I've done that. Trust me, you made the right choice. It does not, it gets harder and harder. Yeah. Going in business with, I've been in the exact same situations what we spoke about last night, but then I've gone into business with people who I thought had my best interests at heart and didn't at all. But you learn through all of this, and essentially the person you can trust and rely on right now is you.
That's it. So
and you're just making it work.
50% paying rent, 50% rent, paying 50% of the rent and bills, so 100%. But I thought, no, it's 100% worth it, guys.
100%.
Because they were going to do anything. They won't do anything.
No.
They're not bringing anything to the table. You bring everything at the minute.
Yeah.
You need to find someone who actually brings something to the table.
100%. Someone who gets exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
No, that's wicked, man. I'm really excited for it.
No, I appreciate
really
it.
Excited. And where's it going to be based again?
Durham.
Brilliant. That's good. So it's going to be specifically for, the gym will be specifically for the clients you've got in, but then is there going to be a membership setup where people who you might not coach or train, as long as they're on the membership, they can still come in?
Yeah, so when we were talking about school, that was actually going to be the app and platform I was going to use.
Brilliant.
To build a membership site. So, training and nutrition, break it down to like fat, protein, carbs, how to eat, when to eat, and then you train in how to do this exercise, that exercise, pharmacology, go into every aspect, and it's a monthly fee, but you'll get to know the elite level stuff at a good price, rather than paying, say, £200 a month for a coach. It might be £80 a month, but you can just watch it whenever and get to know everything about everything. Rather than going through Instagram being like, he says this bicep workout's good, he said it's crap.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
So I get that all the time, contradictions, and it's like, you just got to...
That's huge. You'll say one thing, someone else will say something. But I honestly think for me, building that community, that is you see it all the time. You see it with, Rascal's Barbershop with, have you seen the school community they've built?
Yeah,
I mean, it's unbelievable.
That's where I got the idea from.
Yeah, that's why I was literally speaking to Cal about that next week. It's. I mean, what these guys have done, they are building something so special in that sector that's never been done before, and it's
much harder to do as well with barbering, like, because
when you
you think it would have to be in person.
Yeah, you would, yeah. I mean, with obviously Sam's done sensational at building his self brand. He's done really good with that. Yeah. But but it's an amazing product, and that's same as what you're saying. That sort of gave me the idea. I was like, okay, well, it's just community. It's just how you build that community. Because once you've got that, you look at any of the like No Limits gym, and it's just building that base community. People that believe in what you're doing.
They're buying into the brand.
100%. They're buying to you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because do you know a guy called James Smith PT? He's incredible.
Yeah. I used to not understand him, Like he used to rub me up the wrong way. But now, I'm such a big fan of his.
Going back to never chase to be liked. Because just... No,
but that was me. That was when I was out of shape.
Yeah, so you didn't feel good about yourself. Therefore, you was creating content.
Yeah,
you thought, oh, this is annoying. But
I thought this guy's arrogant, but now I absolutely like. He's one of the. I was showing you his stuff a few weeks ago. He does.
Oh, he knows his stuff. Like,
oh, he's brilliant. He's done very well. And the what's the drink thing he's got? The neuro
tonic.
Yeah,
tonic. Yeah,
he's done well.
He's partnering up with Chris. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, you strike me as somebody who's like incredibly driven, very, very focused on his goals. What was your upbringing like? What was your relationship like with your parents growing up? Were they a driving force in that as well, or?
Regrettably, I'll have to say no.
No.
They were very negative. So when I was growing up, my dad worked a lot, obviously, but for good reason. So put food on the table.
Yeah,
well, didn't come up in the most wealthiest families, but he grafted. So I really got to see him. He worked the typical 8 till 6, but like when you're a kid, you're in bed, whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't really see him loads. My mom's a proper mothering mom, but very negative at the same time. I feel bad really saying all this, but the only two positive people in my family was my brother and my sister, strangely. So growing up, it was tough. I was the youngest. I always felt like when you're the youngest, I don't know if either of you guys are the youngest out of siblings.
I'm the youngest.
I'm the oldest by 1 minute. I'm a triplet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I always felt like no one would ever listen to me. When you were sitting down, or you would just be overspoken. So I just used to sit there, even when I was in my 30s, like early 30s, I used to sit there in silence because I knew no one would speak to us.
Really?
Oh yeah, forever. I was very low confidence, small. That's why I went to bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really have many friends. I just thought, right, I need something that's really isolating to fill my time.
Yeah.
I started training.
I get that.
And then I just got obsessed because I was like,
yeah,
this.
That is, isn't it? It's the obsession.
But my upbringing, it wasn't bad, but it's just maybe the house lacked a bit of love, like an affection. Yeah. Definitely. From because then when I go to like my sister's house now with my brother-in-law, the loving the room. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, it's crazy, man.
That's it. I love that because my parents, they got divorced when I was 12 and my mum did an amazing job, but she was bringing up 3 kids. And, when you get to a point where you realize your parents aren't just your parents, they're adults going through their own shit and they've got their flaws as well. So you go through, I went through my own journey with my mum and my dad, and the same thing my sister has. She's technically the youngest by only by like 5 minutes, but she has done exactly what you're saying. I go down and see them. She's got a great husband, fantastic guy, these 2 amazing kids. And it's incredible, going down and seeing it and seeing how, but it's also learning. That's a real accomplishment, to learn from generational, not flaws, but things that you might want to change. Because how often do you see things that just go from generation to generation? So to change that, I think that is really impressive. Yeah. I mean, seeing my sister do that made me think, right, well, eventually, I do want to have that. I do want to have that family, because for a long time I couldn't see that. Yeah. But families are interesting. They don't define you.
Well, that Conor McGregor story where his dad used to beat him up because he wasn't going to work and stuff, when he just wanted to get up at 5 a.m. and train and then train all day. And now he has he doesn't have the best relationship with him. Yeah. He's just like, well, you never believed in us, so it's a bit weird. Yeah. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, no one will. Yeah. But when you're getting your dad who doesn't believe in you, that's rough. Yeah. That's mental strength. Because when I quit my job, mate, I sat down with my parents and I says, I quit my job and I'm going to go full-time online coaching. And my dad said, there's no money in coaching and you'll fall flat on your face. And I think that was meant to happen. Yeah. So I was like, he stormed out, he walked out, and I was like, okay, let's see. Yeah. And now he's my biggest supporter.
There you go. That's it though, isn't it? I always think if your goals are bigger than someone else's,
people can't see what you see.
No, they can't. And
especially older generations.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't understand social media.
And it doesn't mean it's coming from a bad place. It's just their perception.
And I brought it up to him recently. And he just says, I just didn't understand it.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah, that's an honest answer, yeah.
That's it. You can't... You didn't waste your time getting offended by that. I mean, it probably hurt at first, I imagine, but you powered through.
Yeah, when it is, I heard it. I was like, poor. Show you. I'm going to show you.
I love that, man. I love that. That's one of the biggest driving
fire
things.
in your belly.
Yeah.
I needed that, and I should thank them. I'll thank them one day for that.
That's one of the biggest things, I think. I don't know. I mean, I'd say it's a positive way to deal with stuff, but when someone...
To a point. I think, like, when you're angry, it's a good short-term motivator.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're pissed off that somebody doesn't believe in you, that puts a fire in your belly that you're just going to prove them wrong.
Channel that energy.
But eventually you get to a point where you're like, you maybe feel a bit bitter about your achievements because it's like, I've done all of this just to prove somebody wrong when I could have just done it just to feel whole within myself. Yeah. So it's got a cap somewhere, but...
So that's it. So I was like, right, I'm going to hit this amount. It wasn't about money. It was just to prove people wrong.
Success.
Everyone in my family is successful. They've got their own businesses, and I was just the one who was just like coasting. And then I would get hit with that. You fall fat in your flares, blah, blah, and you go back in the call centres, and I'm like, all right, okay, no bother. And I just did my thing, and I went off in a tangent there. Forgot what I was going to say. Where was I?
Call centre.
No, it was about when you were... I've lost it as well. That's my ADHD.
Same. Starting to think about something else.
Yeah.
You wanted to prove people wrong in your family.
Sorry?
You wanted to prove people wrong.
Yeah. That's correct. So I was trying to prove people wrong. So I was getting obsessed with figures. I'll show you.
Yeah.
But I was loving what I was doing. But obviously, because I was loving and passionate and it was driving us and I was making X amount. And then I got to this amount of money that I said to myself, if I make X amount,
be happy.
I'll be like, that'd be insane.
Yeah.
And mate, in the first year I hit it and I was like, but then what you said there, it was like, have I done this for the right reason?
Yeah.
And then now it's like, right.
Which you can only gain that perspective when you've got like the gift of hindsight, really. Do you know what I mean?
Hindsight is...
But all I've done, I did not, for this unit, I haven't asked for any help, no money. I was just like, all the stuff I've earned, it's still in my business account. I haven't paid myself a dividends, nothing. I'm just like, right, I'm going to invest all this money into this unit and I have to make it work. So it's about starting from, I started from ground zero 2 years ago. Quit my job. It's like, right, you need to start from ground zero but on another level.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So now that you've got a unit, you've got to really let up.
That's when your back's against the wall. That's when you fire. Yeah. No, I get that. I think... when you're talking about hindsight, we've spoke quite a bit about that because it's...
Hindsight's a powerful thing.
Because you're right with what you're saying. I used anger, I used situations that happened. It's similar to what you're saying, right? I'm going to use that to drive me. That's going to be a positive.
You can use it to drive you, you just can't use it to get you the whole way there.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Because I got to a point where if I didn't let this stuff fully go, if I didn't release it, it was starting to hold me back. So I realized you got to get to a point where none of that stuff matters. If you're just trying to do the right stuff every day, you have your non-negotiables, you're spending time with the right people, the rest of the shit works itself out.
100%.
Yeah, but you need that work ethic, self-confidence, which you're not going to have all the time, but you need to find a way to, at least for me, it's when you don't want to do things, still doing it. But then that's what gives me the hunger. Like I knew last night, I was going, it's probably one of the toughest, if not the toughest leg sessions I've ever done. But that was fueling me. That was driving me on. And then when I left, because I'd had a super busy week. Well, we all do, but the endorphins, I was flying. I love that.
Yeah,
and that's what it is.
Like when you finished that hack squat set where I destroyed your soul. I said you were out of breath, you couldn't breathe. You don't have to talk, but you're going to be driving home thinking, well done.
Yeah.
Nobody else is doing this shit, man.
Exactly, man. I love that.
That's what I love. I'm like, when my quads are destroyed, like I can't even walk after my session. I'm like, no one else is doing this, man. This is such a good feeling.
Yeah.
Torture.
It's odd, isn't it? But,
It is. But I love that.
But I think everyone who's successful is a bit tapped.
You got to be.
Because you got to.
You have to be. 100%.
You've got to have a delusional kind of like belief in yourself, don't you?
Yeah.
What's the best advice you've had in most recent times?
Oh, good question. Best advice. You know what it is? From myself, when I was talking earlier, and I said, never stop working. That was the only thing that pops in my head. I just said, guys, no matter what happens, never stop. Just don't. and I
Yep.
didn't. I didn't really have it. I don't have many friends. I know it sounds really sad. I don't have many friends.
No, I get that.
My family member didn't understand. Our family didn't understand the business I was in, so I had no one to go to.
Mhm.
Just myself. It was just me and me. It
Mhm.
felt like it was two people.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
come on,
yeah.
guys.
Love
Looking
that.
in the mirror type of shit. Like,
Yeah.
waking up and being like, guys, it's on you, bro. Let's go.
That's sick.
I know you're feeling tired, but you've got plans to do.
Mhm.
Keep working.
Uh-huh.
So there was no advice from any higher
Mhm.
source, you know. It was just like watching a lot of podcasts though, like Chris Williamson, and being like,
yeah.
okay, that was nice. That was a good comment.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mhm.
Inspirational stuff. Whereas people, you know, watch telly. I don't watch telly. I don't have a Netflix account. I don't watch series. It's when someone's like, because that's what another thing when I was working in call centers. Oh, did you watch that series last night? And I was like, oh.
Do you know the biggest thing? Like, what are you guys having for dinner? People spend like half an hour talking about and it's fucking 9 a.m. What are you guys going to cook for dinner tonight? Oh, I'm getting this takeaway. What the fuck are you talking about?
That's the highlight
Do you know
of
what
your
I
day.
mean? Yeah, exactly.
I think about that.
Come on.
Call center talk, that.
It is.
Well,
Well,
like,
but
have you watched this series? And that? I remember once there was this is when I quit my job. Actually, it was like a month after. There was a guy opposite us on the phone, and I had a Diet Coke there because I was, you know, I like a bit of Diet Coke when I'm dieting, just to like fill me up in between my meals. So he's like, oh, you shouldn't, because on the news at the time it was that Spartan disease, and that you have to have about 1 kilo or something. Anyway, I was drinking it, and he was like, that's bad for you, that. And I was like, mate, you smoke. Like, you smoke cigarettes. You go for 1 an hour.
Yeah.
And this is going to kill me. Like, oh, okay, we'll see how that's long.
People's logic is crazy with that stuff. Like,
What
all of
like,
it.
is that a hypocrite? Like, when you just like,
Oh, yeah.
I was like,
Yeah.
Diet Coke's going to put you sitting there with a box there.
Yeah, exactly. Or having a Big Mac. Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Yeah.
Crazy.
So I think sort of on that topic.
That was when I was like,
Yeah.
I'm better for this. I'm better for this. Like,
100%.
Yeah.
You know? What if someone is to say, yeah, but PEDs are really bad for you, right? PEDs, yeah, but that's something that's even annoyed me. People have gone, yeah, but you're on tests. You're not doing that. That's not right how you're doing that. That's not the same as natural. Like, what's your response to someone like that?
Well, it isn't healthy. It's not natural. They're right there, but is their life perfect when they're not doing anything? That I remember making a reel about choose your poison, let it slowly kill you. And it's true. So recreational drugs, I went through that era. Then PEDs, but very, very sensible with it now. But then you've got people who have takeaways, like you've just mentioned. People, what was the other thing? Cigarettes, vaping even.
Sugar.
You know, but you know, everything. Yeah, sugar. But I was like, well, who lives a life where everything's organic?
Yeah.
And you don't do anything out
You
of it.
have to pick your poison, don't you?
Yeah, and just let it slowly kill you. It's fine. Just accept it, man.
Yeah, yeah. I love that, man.
But
That's right.
while you're doing it, try and help people.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Instead of just being like, oh, what's for dinner tonight? And then watching
exactly.
Netflix. Are you helping anyone? You're just waste.
But those people are just, what is it, NPCs, you know, that whole thing. People,
playable characters.
yeah.
Is that the one?
People just live their lives like that. People live their lives of getting up. Do you know what I fucking hate, right? Is when someone books a holiday for, I don't know, maybe let's say September 27, and every month they're posting that picture, 750 days until I'm in Magaluf.
With a countdown on.
Yeah, it's like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing now?
I was like, is that not more of it that you just wasting time towards your holiday?
Right, I'm not doing anything for like 750 days whilst I wait to get on a plane to Magaluf. And it's like,
I don't know about you guys, but I don't have holidays.
I haven't in a
go
while.
places to work in a nice place. So if I went to Dubai, I'm still doing check-ins. I'm still messaging clients. I could literally fly to Dubai, have 3 weeks there and still do my job. But it's not a holiday.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the beach.
Yeah.
I'm just in the sunshine. I'll go for a nice walk in the morning.
Yep.
And then I'll go on my laptop in a coffee shop. Pretty sweet. And then surrounded by, good people.
I find it quite hard to switch off on holidays.
I think that's another reason I don't have them.
Yeah.
Another reason I'm single. No one can understand my mindset.
No, I get that. I'm having my first holiday in July. I'm going to Italy, then I'm going straight on to a sober stag do. I'm going from one to the other. And it's going to be interesting. It's the first time I've gone on what I would call it's going to be as near as it could be to a holiday in years. Because I don't shut off. And I actually don't operate well when I'm at low productivity. That's actually when my head gets loudest. I have that irritable discontent.
Yeah.
So I don't operate well at those levels. You know, it's just I never have.
It's not nice to be around.
No, that's what I'm not. So it's I have to work hard at being tolerant of others. I'm not naturally tolerant of every type of person. If someone, for instance,
I was going to say that's because of them, not you, though.
No,
That's
no.
the way I look at it, because I know the type of person you are.
right, and I agree, but it's also much easier to just be tolerant of someone who really is going to be very insignificant to what you're doing that day. Yeah. But I remember you saying this to me when I first jumped onto testosterone. You said you're probably going to start to change how you perceive others, and it's true.
Oh, massively. Like,
you know, if I see someone who's incredibly overweight,
what I don't like is when people lose compassion for other people, because it doesn't matter who you are, you're not better than people just because you're taking a substance. It doesn't matter what the substance is. And I think when you first start taking testosterone, the way you see other people who are unfit and out of shape, it changes. Like, you really do. It does change a lot. And I said to Alex, I said, look, just make sure that you still have a certain level of compassion for people who are out of shape and unfit, because for all you know, they might be trying to actually improve themselves still. They're just on a much longer journey. And I'm an advocate of uplifting people and encouraging people.
Yeah, bro.
Rather than getting people down. Because we can all go on as if we're like superheroes with no flaws and imperfections, but at the end of the day, everyone's got a story. And I think it's important just to hear people's story out. Do you know what I mean? To hear it out. But out of all of the clients that you've trained, what's been the most powerful transformation that you've experienced? Like, because obviously you can get people who come on board and have lost like 50 pounds, 100 pounds, and it's life-changing for them, but then you might have somebody who's maybe not lost as much, but they've learned so much. What's been the most impactful transformation that you've experienced as a coach?
These are good questions. Because physically, I would say Carl Christie. That
was ridiculous.
Every week I was like, what the hell?
That was crazy. 12 was that 9 or 12 weeks?
He was in shape for 12 weeks, and then we just held it for like
crazy
3-4 weeks. But you know, bless him, he got locked in and shows what's capable, and he does train hard. Yeah, like he was naturally. When I brought him in for a session, he had a bit more in the room when he trained, but everyone's got a bit more when it's leg day. And he was like, "Whoa, this is rough." I was like, "Oh man, just apply that the rest of your training now." His progress flew. So physically, that one. One was what's his name? Bill Roberts. He only dropped like 30 pounds maybe, but he sent us a voice note, mate. And I remember I put it on my story. I think it's on my, highlights.
Story highlights.
On there, story highlights. Be on there somewhere. And I like screen recorded it and put it on my story because I was like, fuck. He was just like, man, I feel like I'm going like 10 rounds with Tyson here. Like, I feel unstoppable. This was a man who had 2 or 3 kids, a wife, like lovely family. But then I found out he was depressed the year before. And I was like, holy shit. Guys, you've had this impact. The more impact mentally that I feel from a client, the more fulfilled I get. Because getting them in physique, it's hard work. But it's just a mint physique. But getting someone out of a bad spot mentally to a good spot is one of the best feelings. It's powerful because I've been there as well. And if someone had helped me, I just had to find out myself and do something extreme to then realize, whoa, what the hell? Whereas for me to affect someone that much, and I remember he said, I was scared to reach out because I didn't think you'd work with me because I'm overweight. And I was like, mate, I'll work with anyone who's going to work hard.
Yes, right,
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I've had that a lot. Oh, you probably won't work with me. I'm not trying to get shredded. Mate, if you're a grafter, I like you. Like I said to you, I said straight away to you yesterday when we were training, I said, I like you because you're a grafter, mate, in every aspect of your life. That's why we got on mint last night.
Yeah.
So I was just like, well, we're literally the same person.
100%.
And we opened up a similar clinic as well.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
I was just, it's
Yeah.
just mad. But then, like, when you were talking about your tolerance to people and then you'll meet people, I'll tell you one thing. When I first started coaching, another driver was, I had a client, I'm not going to stereotype them, but I took him through the session. And I was talking about my business. He was asking about formula, and it was just brand new.
Yeah.
And I was pushing it, you know, my brand identity, just pushing it.
Yeah.
Just talking on your stories all the time. And and he was like, well, what's your goal? And I was like, mate, when I die, I want to leave a legacy. I want to leave and he laughed, smirked. And I was like, oh, I love this motivation. It's so good.
Yeah,
I need to spend more time with you, just see it more.
100%.
But then that client was just like, he's like still, I don't want to sound nasty.
I get what you mean.
Coursing. I'll say coursing.
Yeah.
Then it's like I'm on putting my own unit now and I've funded it myself. Like, where's he? Even though he laughed at us at first. But I'm not finished. I feel like I'm 3% of where I want to be.
Yeah.
I mean,
I 100% get that.
you got
Yeah.
all the time.
Yeah.
People can never see the vision that you've got for yourself, you know what I mean? It's so hard for them to see that vision. But it's a huge motivating factor when they don't.
100%.
You're just like,
You don't want everyone to. If everyone understands that, other people are going to do it. It might, well, as long as they're prepared to match your work ethic.
Yeah.
But you don't want people to understand it.
Yeah, you know, it's a lot of people will look at what we're doing and opening. And financially, it's like, have I got, but all I'm thinking is, I'm going to make it work, man. Like my brother-in-law said to me, that's the biggest thing, actually coming back to what you said, mate. Best advice was, no matter if we hit rock bottom, mate, good people will always make it work. A true man makes it work. Be in the bottom, skinned, had the best business, but you're back to zero.
Yeah.
If you're a true man, you'll get back.
Yeah.
And I was like, Now he's like my best mate, my brother-in-law.
Yeah.
He's doing my unit, he's in construction, and it's just like, I tell him I love him all the time.
Yeah.
Because he, you know, when I was at my lowest point, I went round my sister's and I was filling up. And like, I was just like, don't fill up, don't cry. You know, when you just try and be manly, don't cry.
Yeah.
I remember I used to procrastinate, like I just used to stare in the distance a lot. And I remember I went home and I started crying and I didn't know what was wrong. It was like when I was depressed. And I got a knock at the door and I was just like, oh, fucking hell. Wipe my tears away. Opens the door. It's my brother-in-law with a quilt and a pillow. Can't leave you on your own. That, I nearly get upset. But that was like,
I love that, man.
fuck. This man gets up at 5 to work and like goes to bed at like 10 p.m. Works, grafts, contract. That's all like.
Yeah.
And he stayed with me for a full week and we stayed up till like 2 o'clock in the morning talking. That was the biggest thing. And he says, guys, we'll always find a way to make it work. Like, make it work. It's all about sticking together.
That's awesome, man.
And he was successful.
You need people like that around.
Oh, I say it to my sister all the time. Like, if it wasn't for Ian, I'd be in a call centre. I truly believe it.
I love, mate, that's awesome. It having people around you, you know. I always say I call you my 3 a.m. friend because you'll answer when I need you. And to be honest, it's probably
Try it at night, see if he does.
100%. Do not disturb. No. Yeah, and it's having those people
Everyone
there.
needs a 3 a.m. friend, man. Like, because especially as men, like, we don't open up, we don't talk about jack shit. So like when you have that one person in your life, or even a few people, like brotherhood is really important. You know what I mean?
I read a book about males, females, the difference between us and mentally and physically and all that. So I was basically into the physical aspect of the book and not men being superior, but you know, I've got more testosterone. So it's, if women, you slam loads of tests in them, they're going to perform very well.
Yeah.
But the mental thing was crazy. So when we say about men that don't talk to each other when they grow up, and it stems from when you're at school. So when we had lunch and breaks at school, the lads would go and play football or a sport, whatever it was, and the lasses would sit and talk.
Yeah.
And open up.
Yeah.
And then we would just be like, oh, what a shot. What a shot. Or like, fell someone and we're like, get up. You got to be strong and like physical. Whereas then we're like helping each other and being and it just continues. And now we've still got to be like that. So when we're like, Alex, I need to talk, like, I'm just feeling a bit down, you're like, you immediately think.
It's deep rooted. It's like a cultural thing as well. Yeah.
But that's one of the reasons we did this, you know, we do this podcast because it's like nothing's off the table to talk about. We want people to come on seed to show different sides of themselves, and we want people to understand that they can talk about anything. There's no topic that we're not prepared to discuss. And also, anyone who's achieving, because people you look at yourself and you said earlier you're not even where you want to be yet. But there'll be people that look at you and go, how do I get to where he is right now? How do I get even to 50% of the success that Gaz is having? And there's people that are watching this and think, right, well, I can see a little bit more of the path now, but also I understand this guy in a lot more depth. And for me, that's one of the biggest reasons why we do it.
Yeah.
You and I both spoke about non-negotiables. So I think just before we finish, what if someone's listening and they're looking to make some changes, what are some simple non-negotiables they can apply to their day that can help?
Switch the TV off.
Mm-hmm.
Find your passion
Mm.
and follow it with everything you've got. That is the only thing I've done and the only thing I'll ever continue to do. So if anyone comes to me advice, I would say, what's your passion? Everyone's got a passion. It doesn't matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It could be anything. It could be, I'm trying to think of something that's really obscure, but just do something and help people with it. That's all I'm doing. It's nothing special. I'm not like special.
Mm-hmm.
I just love what I do. So if you love something, you'll make it work. That's probably the worst advice you could ever give. But it's just like, this is a perfect example. Okay, listen to this. My brother owns a brokerage, an insurance brokerage. Very successful. Very, very successful. And hates it. Hates insurance. Doesn't like it. He just owns the business, has people work for him, makes a lot of money, which is great, but he hates it. Hates insurance. From top to bottom. He loves watches.
Yeah.
Audemars Piguets, what's the Patek Philippe, all that. Loves them.
Nice.
You know, for me, I'm not really into my watches. You're like, guys, this is new watch, blah, blah, blah. Like literally talking about all these little dials and numbers and all this. I'm like, Stu, you need to sell watches, mate. Your passion. I would buy this watch now and I don't even like watches. How much is it? 42 grand. Yeah, I would actually buy that. Just your passion in it. And then I spoke to him about it. I said, you should start a page and like be like a watch trader and stuff. He's like, I'm not going on social media. Blah, blah, blah. So when we were talking yesterday, he would be amazing at it because he's passionate as hell. Yeah. We would buy from 100%.
Yeah.
And what was I going to say? Lost my train of thought.
You're talking about your brother going towards some of his more passion as opposed to his insurance work.
Yeah. Oh, what we were talking about yesterday in the gym says all you need knowledge, passion, and then the courage comes after.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the courage to jump on socials and talk about his love for watches.
That's the next step. I love that.
But he hates insurance and he's always like complaining, negative, and I'm like, mate, I love what I do.
100%, but that's the biggest thing. That's for me over the next 6 to 12 months, getting out of I said to you last night, it's buying my time back. You know, I get paid very well for what I do in my employed work, but they've got my time. So over the next 12 months, get my time back, do 100% what I'm doing. It makes me happy. Find a way to make it work. Easy as that.
Then you're happy, bit of freedom.
100%. There we go. That was awesome.
That was good.
Cheers for coming on, brother.
Oh, man. I appreciate it.
Cheers, brother.